Hey guys, it's Sam with the Blind Spot. I can actually see you. So today I'm doing the review of the Nearsighted VR application. This is an Android application and it is used in conjunction with some type of VR headset. I am using the very inexpensive Google Cardboard headset. Now this application is geared towards individuals with low vision and it's designed to help people see better using the camera on your smartphone, the rear-facing camera on your smartphone. The application, and I'll launch it up here outside of the headset. The application uses your camera and creates stereoscopic view. That means one on each side, one for each eye, whatever the camera is looking at. Now, first things first, we'll get into the good and then the bad, and then my final thoughts on it. The good, the pros. Does it work? Yes, it actually works. And it works pretty well. It does allow me to see much better than I can just with my naked eye. Now, it doesn't let me see any further, but everything is much clearer, easier to see. I was standing here just the other day testing it out. My wife was sitting on the couch here and just standing about where the camera is, looking at my wife. Normally, I can't see detail like her eyes and you know, her face and things like that. But with using the goggles and the application, I could. I could see her face, I could see her looking at me, I could see her smiling. It was really, really pretty cool. So it does improve your vision. And the fact that it's completely closed in works very similar to blinders on a horse. You know, you are focused on that, and so that makes it much easier to see. So it works well. It's easy to use. You just tap on the icon, the app starts, close it up, put on the headset, and you're off. Price, it's free, so it's super cheap. My headset cost $11. So that wasn't bad at all either. Free shipping, so very, very low price. Definitely better than $15,000. The screen is nice and bright. You know, I was testing it at night in this room. I've got a couple lights, but it's still kind of dark. And I was pretty impressed with how bright the screen was and how bright the images were. Now, of course, it's going to be dependent on what device you use it on, what type of phone. I'm using the Note 4. And you know, it's got a good camera, it's got a nice bright screen, it's a high resolution, so everything looks better than it would on, say, an older phone. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, one huge plus for this application is it uses the camera and the phone's image stabilization, which most modern day cell phones and cameras on their phones are going to have. And that is huge. That is tremendous. When I was testing out the eSight goggles, the image is just bouncing around, and it's because your head is just naturally moving and it's bouncing. And it's very similar if you're looking through a pair of binoculars at something very far away. It's hard because the picture is just jumping around, the image. But it's not the case with these. The image stabilization on the phone really cuts out a lot of the jumping around and makes it much, much easier to use. Now, another area that this has really improved for me is reading at a distance. I literally haven't been able to do that since I was a kid. And I just have a magazine here, and I haven't looked at this with my magnifier at all, so I don't know what it says. I'm going to try and read it. It says kitchen updates. That's the big words right here, kitchen updates. And it was hard for me to read that at this distance, and I can already feel my eyes starting to strain. There's no way I can read any of this below it, or this yellow. It starts with a D, I can make that out. But I can't make out anything else. So I'm going to put this on, the app's already running, and we'll see how far away I can read it. Okay, so kitchen updates, I can read that. DIY with style. Five Thanksgiving centerpieces. That's it, 5 Thanksgiving centerpieces. So, I mean, there's no way I could read that without my magnifier, and definitely not this far away. 50, it's still difficult, but kitchen updates for, what is this one is, no strings decorating. That's what I'm reading. No strings decorating. Oh, it's much brighter here. I had a shadow, so it's actually easier for me to read it here. But I mean, like this, I can see that this is all, these are pots on a shelf on a wall. There's a bowl, there's some green ones. This is some kind of plate behind some other types of pots, all up on the shelf. These are details that I would not be able to tell what it is without my magnifier. It just looks like, it would just look like colors. This is a cake stand, an orange cake stand with a cake on it. It's got a piece missing. I mean, you guys don't understand. I mean, you probably do understand how awesome this is. All right, here we go. Just a random page that I turned to. It's a yellow house. We have a balcony up here, chimney. There's the roof. You know, there's a bush. There's a little, whatever these benches out front here. There's steps. There's little flower pots with flowers on the steps. You know, I might not be able to read this down here. Oh, it's in focus now. Somebody might be able to, oh, here we go. Actually, I probably could. There's a phone number, 1-800. If I sat here and worked at it, I could probably read it. And people with better vision than me definitely would be able to figure this out. I mean, these are plants, pictures of plants. This is like a lantern kind of thing. So, let me see what it looks like. No, I could figure out that was a lantern. It's just easier to see. It's all so much clearer. Let's see this text down here. No, I would not be able to tell that there was a phone number in here anywhere. It's way too blurry. No, there's no way I could tell what that is. So it definitely does enhance my vision. Now we'll get to the cons. You can't zoom. There's no way to zoom. And this would be something I would say to the developers. I would encourage them to somehow figure out a way to implement this button on the side here. It's a little washer with a magnet on the other side. And what it does is your phone has a magnetometer, I believe is the name. And it detects magnetic fields. And so just by pulling this down, it changes the magnetic field that the magnet is putting off. And your phone can register that. So a lot of VR apps will use that as if you need to interact with a button or a lever or something. You look at the lever and you pull that down and it triggers the lever or whatever it is. So if the developers could incorporate that somehow into the zoom, that would be awesome. That's the main thing that it is lacking, is the ability to zoom in. That would make it so much better, so much better. I don't know if voice control would be possible. I don't see how, but somehow you could incorporate that little lever, that little button here on the side. Now another con is overheating. This application causes my phone to heat up tremendously, crazy hot. In fact, so much that I can't use it for very long. Now, I will say I'm using a Note 4, but I'm also running a custom ROM on mine. I've tried 2 different custom ROMs, and it's still heating up. It wasn't the one ROM. I just put on a new one today, and just that little bit of time using it to look at the magazine and stuff, my phone is noticeably warm. Any more time and it would start to get into the hot and eventually into the danger zone of causing an overheating and frying some internal systems. So I don't know what that's about. That's something that the developers can take a look at also. Another thing is battery drain. It drains your battery pretty considerably, although a lot of VR applications tend to. I was in the 75 range. I'm at 64 now, and that's only a little bit. So that's 11 points of battery in just not very much usage at all. I haven't been using it very much at all. So there again is another issue. Another problem, which isn't really a big deal, is that you have to set your screen off time. I set it to the max 10 minutes on mine because the application doesn't keep the screen on. So if you're sitting there using it, eventually your screen will dim and it will turn off, depending on how long you have your screen off time set to. Another great addition to the app would be the ability to take a picture, take a still image of something. But once again, I don't know how you could do that. You could make that this button's function, but I would say zooming is more important than taking a picture, taking a screenshot. If you had to choose one or the other, the zoom feature would be the most important for me. So if we're going to compare this to the eSight goggles, the biggest comparison has got to be the price. eSight, $15,000. Which is crazy to me. That is crazy that it costs that much. Versus, a free application that you can download. The goggles, as I said, these cost me $11. There are third-party headsets, VR headsets you can get, like the Gear VR. I know for that works with the Note 4 is $200, right around $200. So you figure a $600 Note 4 and a $200 headset, you're still under $1,000. At the very most, at the very least, you're under $10 versus the $15,000. So it's kind of a no-brainer right there. And in my opinion, from my experience using the eSight goggles, this application works better for me. Just needs a couple improvements that we talked about before. The screen is brighter, as I said. It's easier to see. The resolution on my Note 4 screen is higher than the eSight goggles resolution. Plus, with the headset completely covering your eyes, it's easier to see the screen. It's right there in front of you. So with the few improvements that I spoke of earlier, I think this application is going to be awesome. Very excited to use this in the future. Hopefully those couple of things I talked about will get changed and added in. Hopefully they can be. I'm not a developer, so I don't know, but I think it could be an amazing application that could help out a lot of people, and I would definitely use it all the time. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. This is Sam with The Blind Spot. If you have any more questions, please let me know. As always, you can leave a comment down below. Definitely hit that like button. It helps out the channel. Subscribe if you aren't already. And you can leave an email at theblindspot.sam@gmail.com. Thank you very much, guys. I will see you next time.